Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you guys are. Welcome to another episode of Watercolor Instruction. My name is Sunil. I'm going to be a watercolor tutor today. So I'm going to do a simple watercolor landscape. You can see the depth of the forest and then also negative spaces. So those trees are basically a negative spaces, which creates a really good impact. Stick around. I'm going to go through how I draw, how I build different layers, and give some tips and tricks along the way. So let's enjoy. Alright, so this one is a simple landscape. There's a little bit of rolling hills, and this one I'm not going to be there's not a lot of water, so I'm not going to tape the paper. So this is a really good painting, and they will look good if you increase the size of the paper. The principles are exactly the same. So those are some tree trunks. So composition, always, if you understand, so you want to draw not to the center, but offset 1/3. Few long trees and little bit of bushes. And this whole exercise is about negative spaces. So anybody who doesn't know what negative spaces is, basically you don't paint in that area, and like the whites or the flowers, you can think about many examples, like the snow as an example, very popular if you are not doing. So by not painting, you can capture a lot more, and this is just one more technique. So at the moment I'm just picking up some cobalt blue, and there's some red in the palette. Gives a little bit of rosy tint, and I'm using a really wide brush, and this is a Japanese calligraphy brush, or you could pick your favorite mop. And like you can see, I'm just doing a gradient wash, so the top is a lot more darker than the bottom, and then I'm paying attention not to paint over the trees where the negative space is going to be. So the whole exercise is about the negative spaces. And clearly, if you look at my paintings, I'm just trying to focus on just one or two techniques, which hopefully will give you an idea to do a bigger painting. So these are all building block paintings, in my opinion. So that's yellow ochre, fresh yellow ochre. I use yellow ochre a lot. So it's just muted, just some yellow, and probably it's one of my favorite yellows. So I'm going to just quickly dry. I just feel it's a little too wet. I'm going to just quickly dry and then go from there. And this is a very, the size of the paper and a big brush, you can cover a lot of volume very, very quickly. So this painting, I'm doing a voiceover, so I know this painting was under 10-12 minutes, very quick. So I'm just dried the sky so that it doesn't mix with the sky. So I just want to keep the sky cleaner. So I'm picking up yellow ochre, and there's a little bit of leftover reds and grays and browns. So I'm just dabbing. By dabbing, you leave pigment rich areas, and if you notice, there's areas, how do I explain that? There's patches of colors. That's the idea about just dabbing. So I'm not pushing the paint, I'm just dabbing and adding random small speck. So I'm using a little more yellow, that is ultramarine blue, and adding starting to add a couple more darker shadows. So while keeping in mind not to paint over the barks of the tree or the trunks of the tree, because that's the negative space of what I'm talking about. So still a big brush, and just goes to explain how versatile a good calligraphy brush or a good mop can be. So I know people, a lot of artists, when they are new, they tend to pick up small brush, but you don't need to. You just need to be confident and just go a little slow. So I'm using a synthetic brush. Viridian green, glitter gray. See how I'm paying attention not to brush the tree trunks. All of a sudden those trunks pop out because there's a lot more darker color next to it. If you want to make something light, make sure the surrounding is dark. The darker the color, the lighter the object pops out. I know there's a few videos people put in some masking fluid as well. That's absolutely fine. I don't really care how you do it as long as the effect is good. So if you're not confident, just put in a masking fluid, and then you can just go about painting properly, and then at last you can just peel the rubber off, and then you'll end up with the same negative space. I'm going to do the foreground a little bit, so back to a bigger brush. So there's a little more yellow. Lots of pigment. I'm going to quickly dry. I'm going to put in some highlights. Okay, so, and also when you look at it, the bead of water collected in the edge. For this painting, it looks like it's done on purpose, but those are the kind of things you try to avoid by putting in a mask and then painting over the mask so that the bead is not at the edge. For this one, it's perfectly fine for what you're trying to do. So I'm using some raw umber and burnt umber. I've switched to a smaller brush. Again, still a calligraphy brush, which has a very sharp pointy brush. I'm putting in some contrasting shadows, so it's just a little more depth. So a little bit of crimson, Algerian red, sorry, not crimson, and some possible shadow. So I'm painting the trunk, which is in the shade. And also there's a light source, so we tend to paint on one side of the trunk to represent there's light on one side. So in this case, it's the light is on the right side, so I'm painting the left side of the trunk. So you keep one side white. Also I'm putting in a few scrawny trunks deep in the thicket. It's thicket, I'm not really sure that's the right word, but gives you depth. It's not one layer, and it's a little more. So break the trunks and trees, just gives you a depth. It looks like it's going through leaves and popping out here and there. That's how you can do. So lots of broken lines. Just a little bit of effect like that makes a big difference. What do you think? And this is such a fantastic early beginner's painting. If you ever are stuck, or if you're not sure what to paint, pick this one. So there's like I can absolutely with confidence, this one doesn't need any drawing skill and very minimum painting skills. You just need to have 2 or 3 brushes, and the whole painting is just dual color. So there's yellow ochre, blue, and a little bit of gray. So probably you need crimson red, yellow ochre, and a little bit of gray, and you can do the whole painting. So I'm just adding a little more depth. So a little red, just depicting that there might be flowers or shrubs in the front, and assuming this is a silver birch tree, so I'm adding some bark marks. Adding a couple more branches. Unfortunately my hand's in the way. Just picking up from the gray. I rarely use pigment on its own. There's always a shade of a little bit of gray, so I like splattering. I don't know if years to come what my style is going to evolve. At the moment, I do use a lot of splattering. It just creates a texture. So this is my final drying the painting. There's no need to unmask because there's no masking tape. So very small image, but has all the good composition and negative space. I hope you enjoyed the show. This is what you get by building on each step. This could be anywhere, any place, and the same effect could be, we could get different. My son is there, he's making a little bit of noise. No, but don't make any noise. So there's lots and lots of color combinations you could try with the same painting, and depending on the season it could look a lot different. Yeah, this is one of especially this is a A5 size, but if you draw something in a much bigger sheet, I can promise you this painting will look really well. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, it helps me out, and hit a like button. If you want more of the similar videos, check out the top left corner or the right corner, and we'll have more videos follow through. Till next time, keep watercoloring, and bye.